Today, I'm talking about how to not take things personal and why nothing's personal. So, I know my necklace keeps flipping and it's sick, but, anyways, I think we all go through things with people, situations, life, and it's like it just feels so personal. You don't understand why they would do that to you. You don't understand what you did to deserve it, all those things. I'm here to tell you it has nothing to do with you. So, the allegory of the cave is something that was written by Plato like a long time ago. And I did a deep dive into it, I think in like 2022. It helped me realize that nothing's personal. And there's a picture that I'm going to put up where you guys can see it. So I'm looking at the picture right now to, get to where I'm going. But the picture depicts like people chained to the lowest level of the wall. Y'all can see that. Behind the lowest level of the cave, there's a wall between them and other people that are holding up shapes. Then there's a fire, and there's people climbing up out of the cave, and then there's people at the top of the cave looking onto the landscape or whatever. The people chained to the lowest level of the wall, all they see are those projections. They don't see that there's someone behind the wall holding up shapes and they're not quote unquote real, but that's all they know in life, and they don't know that it's fake, so it's real to them. So the allegory of the cave is really just a metaphor about our reality and our interpretation. It's what we see versus what it is, and what we see is what it is to us. There's also the levels of mental complexity. The levels of mental complexity were made by Robert Kegan, and it's like his whole theory, framework, everything like that. And there's 3 levels of mental complexity. There's the socialized mind, the self-authoring mind, and the self-transforming mind. And I'm always talking about the levels of mental complexity because I think it's comforting to know that people are not always on the same level mentally. It's not an attack on you. People's behavior is not an attack on you personally. And I know it feels like it is, but it's not. There's kind of like ages or phases in life that associate with each level. So like the first one, it's like childhood. The second one, I don't know, like teen years maybe. And the third one is adult years. They're not always aligned with age, they're really just aligned with growth. So the first level of mental complexity, to describe it, it's like there's no barrier between your imagination and reality. You're usually just perceiving things, you're not really distinguishing them. You don't identify yourself as a person yet, like you don't know self. It's a very impulsive state. Kids are impulsive. Your thinking is driven by like your immediate needs, your immediate emotions. You feel and you do, and that's really it. You perceive, you don't distinguish. That's the easiest way to explain it. So to compare the first level to the allegory of the cave, that's like the prisoners at the bottom of the cave. Like their mind is conditioned from what they see. When you're at the bottom of the cave, or the first level of mental complexity, your ideas, thoughts, life is shaped by external things. It's shaped by external definitions. It's shaped by everyone else. So in my last video, I kind of was like about to talk about how we have filters, and on each level I can kind of get into like the filters that we have of what can come in and what can go out. But at the first level of mental complexity, you can't conceive that there's a filter. So the second one is the self-authoring mind. As I said before, you're aware that there was a level 1. So you know that you've grown from level 1. You're aware. You're aware, but it's still there. So once you get to the self-authoring mind, you develop your own personal thoughts and framework of how you see the world, but it's still influenced by your original school of thought. So I think people that are at the self-authoring mind, they see their role in society, but they don't identify society. With the self-authoring mind, we can step back from our environment and see and judge from our own mind. We develop our own internal seat of judgment, and like I was talking about, filters. At this point, there's a filter of how much we can handle. Like I said, we're still connected to our original ideology, but there's now self-awareness. At this point, it's hard to handle other perspectives and see where people are coming from. So at this level, it aligns with the prisoners that are getting out of the cave. They're confused, they're out there, but the discovery starts. You evaluate your own beliefs and create your own meaning instead of relying on societal meanings and expectations. But now you're questioning reality, which I talked about in the last video, where when I got to rock bottom, I felt like that's when everything was stripped from me and I was seeing things, and now I had to question it. And at this point, I feel like you have to kind of decide whether or not you're gonna try to go further in your exploration. The self-transforming mind is the people at the top of the cave. They've reached enlightenment. Like, you realize that you are an individual within society, operating within your own beliefs, but you can handle other perspectives, you can handle opposite opinions. You recognize that your own society is just your society within a bigger society. At this point, you can see that one ideology and one school of thought is biased and limiting. And in some way, it's always incomplete and it's always partial because you're one in the entire universe. So like I was talking about filters, like, you know you have a filter, but you're letting stuff in now. You have the filter doesn't have you. The way you live, the way you think, you realize that it's almost inevitably leaving something out. I think once you get to this point, like, you can either revert back and crawl into what's comfortable or continue your journey on self-awareness. Like the picture of the allegory of the cave, they're seeing the sun. That's enlightenment. You're seeing everything for the first time, truly, without goggles on. So to circle back around to the point of this video is why you shouldn't take things personal. Some people are still functioning in the first level of mental complexity. Some people cannot. Like, I don't care how much you say, no, they know what they're doing. No, they understand. No, why would they do this to me? No. I've told them. They understand. They don't. Some people are stuck there. They can only operate in the belief system that they have absorbed. Like, that's just it. It is what it is, no matter how much you say something. Like how people say you can communicate, but if there's no comprehension, you're getting nowhere. So people in the first level, they hear you, but they don't hear you. The shadows is all they see. They don't know that there's people holding it up saying, yeah, this is what I want you to see. This is what I want you to think. This is how I want you to function. You know, like, they don't know that. That's just, they know nothing. So if you're an independent thinker, or if you just think differently than somebody, and you're dealing with somebody who still seeks external validation, I think it's best to not deal with those people. Don't deal with people who are in a different level of mental complexity as you, because that filter, they can't handle it. They can't handle it. It won't come. Okay, I got cold. But I don't know. I feel like we as people, you know, with family, any relationship, any dynamic, we feel like we just shouldn't be treated a certain way, and things are like attacks on us, but it's really not. And it can really beat you down if you think it's me, it's me, it's me, it's me. Why is it me? And it's them. And it's not even to put, it's also not even to be pointing the finger like there's something wrong with them. It's like, no, they're just not, they're not where you are. If you are really self-destructive in the way that you think with how people treat you and you're like obsessed about it, then you're probably stuck at a lower mental complexity as well, because you can't even comprehend that somebody's actions does not have everything to do with you. I know it's like, well, they're doing it to me though. They're not doing it to you. They're just doing it. Like, it has nothing to do with you. Stop thinking everything's about you. It's not about you. It has nothing to do with you. And if you cannot grasp that, then you have some digging to do, and you need to go on a journey of exploration yourself. If you're dealing with a man or a woman who you feel like you're constantly talking to, but they're not hearing you, nobody speaks to you, they don't get it. Like, you guys don't speak to each other. It's like bouncing off. It's bouncing off of them. You feel like everything he's saying is bouncing off of them. You just gotta leave them alone. I advise everybody to go on a journey of exploration and self-discovery, because you might be unintentionally hurting people and hurting yourself and dwelling. And we don't got time for that. I don't know. Yeah, these are the things that helped me, and really, like, it genuinely changed my life, because I was never really a very explosive person, but I have so much more patience now, and I have so much more understanding, and I don't blame myself for things that I would have in the past, or I don't doubt myself. Maybe I do, I don't know, but I don't think I doubt who I am as a person and what I do because of somebody else's action towards me. Yeah, that's really it. That's all I had to say today. Remember to give love, be love, vibrate on love. Everything gonna be okay. Goodbye.